Going live. We're live.
Oh, we're live?
We're live.
That was quick. A lot quicker than normal.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Willie. This is Monty.
Hello.
Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to check just in a second. If you're here, let us know you can hear us. We're broadcasting outside.
Rooftop.
On a rooftop from a Wi-Fi install that we're working on. So I'm going to swing around real quick. Let's see if people are joining. Can they hear us? Yes. Hello, 8 people. 2 thumbs up.
That was quick.
Hey, Willie, Monty, chat. Hello, everybody. Fantastic. So it sounds like everybody can hear us.
Just like that.
Yeah, and before we get into what we're doing on this rooftop on this beautiful day in Peoria, Illinois, let's talk about WAN theory. So I've been a little negligent in the WAN or in the network theory videos, getting the WAN video out. So I'm going to let Monty open this up. Monty is actually has gone through more recently than even I have the Cisco Networking Academy.
It's been a couple years.
Yeah, but he even went through when I did it. It was there was no switching, there was no wireless in Cisco, so I'm kind of dating myself there a little bit. But Monty actually went through the courses that were supposed to prepare you for CCNP level type stuff. So I'm going to let Monty open this and explain to you what a WAN is.
So WAN or a wide area network is generally not a lot of people, not a lot of networking engineers or networking administrators have to deal with them that much. Just because a wide area network or WAN is usually handled more by the ISP or people trying to create wireless ISPs, fiber ISPs, or like Comcast or even more local fiber, like isn't Mediacom starting fiber now?
Yeah. So, let's talk about like what is the main goal of a wide area network. So, like a wide area network, we talked in other videos about what a LAN is, a local area network, where you're kind of in one geographic area, like an office or a building. But a WAN takes it and steps it up. So now you're going city to city, you know, tip of the state, one tip to the other, across the entire country, across the world. And what is the biggest WAN that exists?
U.S. government?
The internet.
Oh.
The internet is the biggest WAN that exists, right? So,
I guess that would be public WAN.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, but then if you have a business and you use like the edge router, the USG, anything to create site-to-site VPNs, well, you are creating a WAN that's encapsulated over the internet. So even VPNs count as a WAN. So some of the technology that's kind of going away, copper-based stuff like T1s. Some of you may not even know what a T1 is, or if you're in Europe, an E1.
I didn't know it was different.
It is, yeah. And there's actually more bandwidth available on an E1 than there is a T1. Yeah, it's weird. So, but a T1 caps out like 1.544 megabits, but there is an SLA. So when you go to like a Comcast service for business, you have a CIR, which is a committed information rate. You don't have an SLA. But the internet we're actually streaming on right now is actually delivered to this facility via fiber. And there is an SLA for fiber. Fiber is a little bit of a higher end product where we're at. In Peoria, I think there are a handful of fiber providers.
2 that are readily available, I think. Right
Yeah,
now.
two main, so I3 Broadband and then Stratus Networks in Peoria. But so to have a WAN, let's talk about more about some of those methodologies. So you could have fiber delivered to your premise, and you could do MPLS over the provider's private network. It wouldn't have to go out over the internet. You could have your own private fiber if you've got, you know, those resources.
Right.
That'd be awesome.
That'd
What
be
else
amazing.
can you do? You could throw up some Ubiquiti Air fiber.
Giant pole.
Giant pole, giant tower, and you could extend, you know, your WAN through the air. I also have a customer who uses satellites to deliver internet to Papua New Guinea. And I can tell you stories about that. It's awesome. They sell internet in Papua New Guinea. People come out of the... They leave their tribes temporarily. They go to the city. They charge their cell phones, check their email, and then they go back to their tribes. It's amazing stuff. But so wide area network, I would say. Well, I actually had AT&T tell me here that if we have a problem with copper in the ground, because we've got like 3 T1s, that they will not be replacing it. So they are forcing our hand, forcing us to go to fiber. So that's another project that we're working on. So where are you going to see WANs most commonly used for business?
For business, I mean, connecting to the WAN. Well, for example, Caterpillar has most of their businesses, or at least whenever they're in a decent geographical location, set up kind of like a WAN where one business is physically connected to the other one.
Right.
Across cities.
And for those of you who don't know what Caterpillar is, they make mining equipment.
Yeah.
I think they're like the biggest, maybe.
I don't know if they're the big. They're probably still the biggest,
Yeah,
but it's been a while since I checked that.
But yeah, any company, Walmart. Think about the wide area network that a company like Walmart, Target, Bergner's, Dick's Sporting Goods. I don't know if like Steak and Shake. I don't know if those are franchise or corporate, but
I don't know.
At some level, there's probably a wide area network, in play there. So. Wide area network is pretty simple. It's not simple. I shouldn't say that, but the concept is simple. It's an extension of the LAN. It's taking LANs and connecting them across diverse geographical areas.
Just one step up.
Yeah. So, get out there, do some Googling. There's all kinds of technologies. Right now, VPN's hot. MPLS actually replaced Frame Relay. So Frame Relay used T1s. Bundled T1s, went out over the packet switch network or switched packet network, whatever, the copper network, the PSTN network. There are probably a lot of Frame Relay installations out there. I will tell you, back in the late 90s, I probably installed 250, 300 Frame Relay routers. They weren't Cisco either. They were Eastern Research, which had a GUI-driven router, and it had an internal CSU DSU. It was fantastic. Like, because Cisco, we had to have these big,
the giant
and you had
clamps.
to screw like half of them in at a time.
Yeah, it was
mess.
really gross.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we wanted to talk about as far as wide area network goes. So I'm going to leave the title of this live stream, Network Theory WAN Live, because I do want people who wanted to talk about network. Yeah, Monty's going to check comments real quick, and then we're going to do a pan here and take a look at this area. What do we have?
How do I open comments? Oh.
Are we still on?
We're still on. I guess they're just not funneling through. I don't know. I don't know how you have this set up.
64 people. No, maybe there's no comments. So, real quick, I know there's 74 of you on there. We got 18 thumbs up. We appreciate everything that you guys do for us. Everybody that reaches out and wants consulting. Everybody that emails. Sometimes I respond to emails, sometimes I don't. The YouTube comments are harder to keep up with because YouTube does some people call a fantastic job
away,
of harvesting those out. So a lot of comments on YouTube get filtered out. So if you've got something and it's like a quick answer for me and it's something where we're not going to get into a billable situation, or you want to see a video and there's a need for the video, email that over to me at willie@howx5.com. So real quick, what we're going to do is we are going to do, now before we do this, this is a work in progress. This Wi-Fi, we just lit it up this morning. I have actually given Ubiquiti access to this site because I'm kind of using it as a white paper, a study, and this just went live. So we know, like, we have to put yellow stripes on our cable. We understand that. Our cable needs to be tacked up. I understand that. The loops need to be bundled and tacked up. Literally, this thing went live 10 minutes before we started the live stream. So Monty knows what he's got to do to get things cleaned up. So I know you'll all be eager to help us with that, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to just take a shot. We're going to circle around and you can see kind of where we're broadcasting from here this morning.
You want to pan it?
Yeah.
We also, hi from Ireland and hi from Canada.
Hi Ireland, hi Canada.
And then somebody wanted to know what we thought of the fight last night.
I did not watch the fight. I actually watched Rick and Morty.
Nice, you're catching up.
I'm caught up.
Oh, you're caught up.
I am current on Rick and Morty.
How'd you like the call center joke?
On the latest one?
Yeah. She presses the button on the machine. Try not to spoil anything.
Yeah. So, hey Malta, there you are. So.
Hey Sweden.
Hey Sweden. So that's kind of a panoramic view. Now, like I said, we haven't tweaked any of this Wi-Fi. We just fired it up. The 2.4 gigahertz where we're at is completely trashed. Completely trashed. There are at least 40 networks broadcasting in the 2.4 gigahertz range where we're at right now that we're going to have to contend with. So we may actually make the suggestion that since it's 2017, maybe we disable 2.4 access since this is free public Wi-Fi. Plus they want the fastest Wi-Fi in Peoria, which we are going to make happen. And maybe we just go 5 gigahertz, you know, and we kick it up to, you know, an 80 megahertz channel, you know, double that bandwidth and just let it roll. So if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you saw a picture that Monty sent me of a can covering a hole. And this is the building where that is, and we are working on fixing that. Someone else who bid on this project, my friend Patrick, who I didn't know was bidding on this until afterwards, we went out to lunch. He used to work for a company called Trivalent, who did a lot of the over-the-air stuff in this area at the time. And he sent me a message and he said that he couldn't believe that that can was still there. The roofers put that can on 15 years ago.
Oh my God.
So that can was 15 years old. I almost feel like it was hallowed ground and we shouldn't have touched it.
I mean,
but
I was wondering how long it was going to take I was wondering how long it was going to take the ink to wear off that can, because it's just this metal can, nothing else.
15 years. What was it? Was it a Mr. Pibb can?
Yeah, it's all of the ink's
it's
gone.
All gone.
Yeah,
so
it's just a can.
Yeah, we don't know what the roofers were drinking. It could have been a beer can.
It could have been a beer can.
Well, I don't know. Are beer cans more steady than? I don't know. It's more sturdy. I don't know either. So let's open it up. Let's take some questions.
I assume they probably. I'm not going to even make a guess.
All right, we've got 76 people on, so thank you for that.
Sorry, it's a little bright out.
Yeah, so
even though it's overcast.
Yeah, go ahead and let's get some questions rolling here. Anybody? Questions? We'll pan this guy again. This will be probably the longest of the network theory videos. Just quick walkthrough of our setup. So right here, you can see we've got, I'm trying to figure out where you're at in the shot here, Monty. I think you're in the shot, I just can't see you. So what we've got here is everything that we did here, completely Ubiquiti from tip to stern. From the RJ45 connectors to the cable to the mounting arm. That is a Ubiquiti mounting arm. This is an antenna that I'm not going to go into much detail about. This is part of the reason why I've given Ubiquiti access to this site, so they can see how this particular unit performs. I cannot talk about this. And then we've got a standard mesh unit mounted here. And then we've got to go down along this. We shoot down, we go along a building cap. We have to paint the, for safety reasons, we have to paint the cable yellow. We do not penetrate the roof. There is no roof penetration going on. We silicone around everything. We try to leave it better than the way we found it, really. So, I mean, our reputation, everything we do, you know, when the management comes up and they look at this, I mean, you know, I hold on a second. So this is not our installation. This was not us. This was here. So that's not us. Our stuff's gonna look a little different than that. It's gonna look, but you know, and I can't say much. This has been weathered. You know, this has been out here since the building was built 15 years ago. So will our stuff look like that in 15 years? No, it won't. So, because we will likely try to do some sort of maintenance and evaluate the network and things like that after a certain amount of time. So,
for the conduit question that was just asked,
this is not our conduit.
Yeah. Well, they asked, instead of painting the line, wouldn't it just be easier to run it through conduit?
No.
Currently, with the roof structure, there isn't any conduit available for us. It just runs, it's all gravel across the roof. The conduit that you see has been here since the building was built and is used for, I believe, the speaker. And you can actually see over here how bowy the conduit starts to get. So that would be a nightmare to run through, even if we could run through it.
So, but we're not here to talk about other people's work.
Right.
So, actually though, swing around and take a look at the yellow pipes. So for safety reasons, anytime you start dealing with the rooftop, there's certain codes that we will adhere to. And part of that is anything you do, we've got to hit it with a yellow paint. You can see how all these pipes are painted yellow. And in working with the management company, we decided that the best course of action to begin with would be to come through our roof access, follow the roof cap. We've got little like coax clips that we're going to use, that Monty will actually use adhesive that is weatherproof and will go along the roof cap and along this roof cap, and so we will not be penetrating any of this. The only place where our screws go in are to hold the mounts on the top of the building. So keeps things simple, keeps the liability down for everybody, and the requirement of the yellow paint, we're totally on board with that. So that's what Monty's working on today, and we've actually been, you know, we plugged that Wi-Fi in, we went, made sure everything came up, and then we actually have a Pro. I don't know if you can see the Pro, it's way over there, but we're actually going to swap that because it's a less populated area, so we want the Pros in the more populated areas. And then somebody asked kind of what the setup is on this. So we have gigabit internet coming in into a main room over fiber, and then we have USG 3, we have US switch 8150, and we have a cloud key. So that's all in one room, and then it's actually below us here, and then these two APs plug directly into that that switch. Then there is fiber throughout this entire campus, and they've created a layer 2 network between all the telecom rooms for us on the ONTs, and there's an ONT down here that has a port, and it will plug into the switch. So they've the ISP has created a layer 2 network over the optical network for us. So
every electrical room for every building has fiber in it and an ONT, which was crazy that they just went and did that, considering it's quite a bit of fiber just to run for some of it we probably want to end up using.
Well, the fiber was already here, so the fiber was built out, so they just put a tap in, put the ONTs for us, So, but by the time we're done, the gentleman we're working with, he's going to be able to take this, he's part of a building managers group, he's going to be able to bring people out here and show them what's possible with their Wi-Fi when it's designed correctly. So, and I'm super duper confident that with Ubiquiti on board, that this will be the best installation well, not that I've personally done, but this will be my best installation so far, because we keep getting more and more of these. So it's fantastic. So are there any questions coming in?
Not active, or not currently. I probably missed a couple, but they fade away. I apologize.
Yeah, that's okay. So what else do we want to talk about while we're here? So we talked about WANs, wide area network, and about how it takes your LANs and connects them, over geographical areas. So we're good there. We talked about this project. What else do we have going on?
Other than this,
we may be getting into managed services.
Oh yeah.
So we may be getting into managed services, working on a Wi-Fi design for another client, but then that client right now pays a pretty good chunk of money to support 30 workstations. So we may be, looking at onboarding them.
That'd be really cool. Yeah. I mean, we plan on eventually getting out cabling videos from me in your lab or something like that.
So Monty's going to do cabling. I would love to do like fusion splicing, but I don't.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I don't have any
equipment's
money.
pretty expensive.
Yeah, I think I saw a used one for like $5,000. So, and I know you can get cheap ones, but
who knows? Maybe we can talk to some people and borrow one for like 30 minutes.
You never know. I wish my electrician that I use had one, because he definitely let us use it. He's awesome. But so the 2.4 gigahertz here is literally I've seen some congestion, but so this is a mall, right? So every tenant has their own Wi-Fi. So that we are designing around that.
And I doubt they have it set up to where it's broadcasting for their own stuff.
Yeah, right? It's not as bad as when your neighbor goes out and buys a D-Link or a Linksys and just plugs it in, but it's close. Like, so we're going to be designing around those 2.4 gigahertz networks. Like I said, we may make the recommendation to go 5 gigahertz. Only we'll see. I don't know how the manager will feel about that, but we may get a better product in the long run. So it's really gorgeous out here today. It was supposed to be raining. I know I've got some people in Texas, and if you're in Texas and Louisiana, or you've got relatives down there, we hope everybody is safe. I was working with a group of guys. We were going to be doing Ubiquiti training. I was doing a custom 6-hour training for them. These guys have a really good. I want to turn this away from the wind.
Okay.
These guys have a really good grasp on wireless networks and everything, but there were some things that they wanted to shore up. And Friday night we had to go ahead and I suggested that we move the scheduling or the schedule so that, I mean, people had to evacuate. It was not a good situation in Texas and Louisiana. So we'll be doing that. If you're interested in custom training, you know, go ahead and give me an email and we'll talk about that. So 6 hours of training, we can get through a lot of stuff in 6 hours. So I have the lab and then you would have gear and we connect and it's pretty neat. So are there any questions? If there's not going to be any questions, I think we're going to wrap this up. What do we...
Questions
coming through. Otherwise, we're going to cut this thing down in about 2 minutes. Anything else?
What is the use of this network?
Public Wi-Fi.
Yep.
They're going to provide Wi-Fi to all of the clients. And this is a like an outdoor type mall. So instead of going into a big building, this is where you park and everything is open. I don't know what they call these, open air or outdoor malls. I don't know what the... I'm not a mall guy, so I don't know what the technical term for that is.
Another one was recommendations for sending 1080 video across town. I don't know if they specified live or just as a file format.
So 1080 video across town. Well, it's going to depend on whether you have clear line of sight. Did they say wireless?
Joby cut it off.
So it's going to depend. So if you can do it over a VPN, I don't know what your overhead is, or if you've got clear line of sight, you can do it with a wireless. We use a lot of Ubiquiti Air fiber. We tried the MetroLink 60 gigahertz, but that thing was just
not live transfer, they said.
Not live transfer?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's still kind of a weird question.
Yeah, it's really case by case on that.
I mean, like if you've got a VPN tunnel, send it. I mean, if you're just trying to deliver it, you could create your own cloud server. You could use Dropbox if you like to use the cloud. Google. I like to use Google. I don't know. That's a kind of we don't know the use case, and we don't know. And that sounds like a cop out, but it's not. Like, are you just wanting to send this to your buddy? Like, you know. I mean, I think you can send files through Skype depending on how big they are. So, I don't know. Any other questions?
Last comment that came in was wieners. So,
somebody just said wieners?
They called us a wiener.
Wieners.
Number of APs at the mall, actual questions.
Actual questions. Number of APs. Initially, we are going to have 8 live, and we have 2 on reserve. So 8 live, 2 on reserve. And we could scale up to 12 initially if we had to. I don't think it's going to get there.
Someone asked max number of connections.
So that's a very good question, and we've been talking with the management company about that, and they've got Gigabit, and they want people to be able to leverage that. We don't know what it's going to be under load. I can tell you what the theoretical would be, because we would just take the Ubiquiti numbers for the access points and use those theoretical numbers. What it's going to be real world, I don't know. But I will tell you that I am excited to get this thing up and going. We should be done with this, I would think, in a week or so, week and a half.
Yeah, as long as the cable gets in on time.
Yeah, and
we ran out of cable.
Yeah, we did. We took a left turn at Albuquerque and ran out of a cable on one run.
I had a fun goof where I was pulling cable up through the roof through a hole that was pre-drilled, and I was like, 300, I've got a bunch of cable left, and then I didn't realize that it was meters, so I ran out of cable and just pulled it all through the roof, thinking it was just had a way more left.
Yeah, and I like the way he owned that. If you work with us, we own stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, stuff happens. You're not perfect, and sometimes you get so caught up in the little details that sometimes you get. That's why there are 2 of us back and forth. I was not on site when he ran out of cable.
The best part of it was I didn't even think that it was meters instead of feet. As soon as it happened, my first thought was like, oh man, this must have been a manufacturing issue, and they, instead of putting 1,000 foot in the box, only put 300 foot, and then I ran around trying to find the cover for the Cat 5 box I threw away. So
yeah. So when this thing goes live, we really do want to stress test it. And so the way it's going to work is there's going to be a captive portal, and you just have to click I accept. They've got custom graphics. and all that. So there's like the logo of the ISP. Unfortunately, the H5 technology logo did not make the cut. Came into that conversation a little late to get the logo on there. So we plan on having a stack of business cards, hopefully, with the ISP, because they're opening an office here, and with the management company. So if they say, hey, who did your wireless, you know, they can hand out business cards. So somebody said, do we have a lot of dropped packets, transmit packets on 5 gigahertz with Ubiquiti? And I can't answer that question. I don't know. I haven't run into that specific issue yet. Any more questions?
Slight delay, so give them a second.
Yes, there is a slight delay. We are going to be wrapping this up here.
What should I use for PTP through 1,500 foot of trees and 300 I had cut out? I'm not sure.
Okay, so if you go back on my channel, you will see a 900 megahertz and M900 Ubiquiti deployment. That 900 megahertz will make quick work of those trees. However, the max transmit for data throughput on 900 megahertz is less than you're going to get even on 2.4 gigahertz. So I've got that cutting through canopy at a half a mile, and we're between, I think we're like 19 megabits throughput, but that's all they need.
The 100 was 100 megabits per second.
The what?
Because it ended with 100 and then it cut out. It was 100 megabits per second.
So you have to have 100 megabits through trees, but what was the distance?
1,500 foot.
Oh, 1,500 foot?
Yeah.
That's from, well, that's closer than the IMAX theater.
Yeah, definitely.
1,500 feet. I don't know, and people are going to shudder when I say this, but I mean 2.4 gigahertz, depending on the canopy, and 1,500 feet. It's not half a mile. 100 megabit, man, I don't know. They do make an air fiber 2 gigahertz product, you know, but I would hate to tell you to buy that and then have it not work. Chainsaws are really cheap compared, and I do not advocate destruction of forests, by the way. You're not going to get the throughput with 900 megahertz. You're just not going to get 100 megabit at 1,500 feet with all, if it's dense canopy. It's just not going to happen. And I don't know that 100 megabits is going to happen with 2.4. I don't know. You know what I would do with that is I would hop over to the Ubiquiti community. I'd go into the AirMax discussion, and I would post that question, because there are people who operate that stuff at a much larger scale than what we do. I mean, we're talking big scale, enterprise customers, big Fortune 50, 100 companies who are doing stuff with that. Hop over there and ask that question over there. See what, you're gonna get more than just the one collective mind here.
How about it?
So I think that's it. I think we're going to wrap it up. We want to thank everybody for being here today. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Please subscribe. Please use those Amazon affiliate links to keep a little money rolling into the channel so we can keep putting out cool content. And I do want to let you know, I bought a portable rack, and we're going to be populating that. So I'm going to give you a tour of my small rack. So, but thanks for being here. Have a wonderful day wherever you're at, and we'll see you in the next video.